is going to win tonight. Putting out a little poll real quick here for you guys. See what you guys got to say about it. Will we see a new winner tonight is the question. Get your votes locked in. We'll take a look at what you guys think before we get started. Right now, top on the board, though, is still the 12 of Zachary Lima. Second right now going to be going to Cody Neagles. Steve Korosek, third. Steve, I do believe, is the owner of a series called Dale Cup Superspeedway Series. Got more information coming up on that in just a week. Make sure you stay tuned for that. You're not going to want to miss it, but that is still a little bit of time to come. Matthew Baker, the only driver out on track right now, and he is usually one of the fastest qualifiers, so we'll see if he can steal the pole here from Lima. Haven't been as busy the last two nights on broadcast. Sometimes I'm okay with that. Good to see some of the regulars out here watching these guys go at it. I know a lot of these drivers not able to watch it during the race, and I'm telling you, you got your hands full during these things. Matthew Baker looked pretty fast, but not fast enough. Going to go 8th on the board. 4 minutes left in qualifying. We'll get him and his teammate Jason Main's paint scheme loaded in on the board. There it is. And I think that is going to do it for everybody that wants to qualify, it looks like. So we are pretty much just going to sit here for the next 4 minutes while we wait for the timer to run out. Unless Jimmy Crow, of course, decides to advance it. Don't think he will, though. We will sit here and ponder to see if anybody else decides to get on the track for qualifying. We did not have every driver in this field qualify. We are going to have some starting at the back. Looks like we may have, 17 drivers from what I'm seeing right now tonight. And actually looks like Justin Parham is going to take the track in the 19 machine. This is one of the drivers that I saw in the Noma Truck Series. Very fast, came home second in the Kentucky race. If I remember correctly, that is at least. Either way, though, Justin, a very talented driver. Don't see him in as many money races, but he's going to get himself out here, have a chance. And I know some people say with a lot of these pros in these races, it just doesn't make it an even playing field. But I have to disagree. You know, you can find yourself a couple teammates, pit with the pros, do what you got to do. But at the end of the day, a super speedway has the draft, unlike any of the other tracks that we go to. And the draft is the great equalizer. And it gives every single one of these guys that are able to get through their pit stops cleanly a chance at the end of it. And some of you are going to be a little bit interested here. Remember, shorter race here tonight. That's how the Dash for the Cash Series works. Only 31 laps, but don't let that be too deceiving because we are going to have one, if not two, pit stops, only 45% fuel. The Xfinity cars are going to make it a little bit farther than the trucks, and I got to believe it will only be one pit stop because I think these guys should be able to go 15 to 17 laps at least on fuel. Going to be really close, but I think they'll be able to make it in one stop. We'll get a little bit more into it once we get into race info. Justin, though, dives onto the apron. See what lap he can put down. Going to go 12th on the board. Not too bad. Some of these guys, not the best qualifiers, but that doesn't matter once we get out into the race. That's when you want to be fast. 1 minute and 57 seconds now left in qualifying. And the drivers who have chosen not to qualify for the time being is going to be Christopher McCall, Ken McCall Jr., but it looks like Chris may be taking the track. Yep, he's going to get a lap in here if he can right before qualifying wraps up. McCall Motorsports driver. They call him bad teammate over there. Hometown, Savannah, Georgia, and it looks like he's actually going to think twice about it. Park it, pull it back into the pits, start in the back maybe with his teammate Ken McCall Jr. Maybe just practicing a couple things here. Entry off pit road potentially being one of those things. If you are just tuning in, let your friends, let your family know. Dash for the Cash Money Racing is coming your way next. Appreciate everybody being out here. You are watching the Green Ghost on Ghost Racing Network. If you like what you're seeing, the broadcast, the racing, or both, please leave us a like. Lets me and these guys race and know that you enjoy what we're trying to put on here. If you're new, make sure you give us a follow. Trying to get 500 subs as quick as we can. Don't think Chris is going to have enough time to put down an actual lap. Wait a little bit too long here, so we'll see if he's just trying to practice a pit stop. Might be. Let's see if he decides to come down the pits. He's going to try to run it out. Nope, looks like he's going to run it to the line here. 30 seconds, though, like we said, not going to be enough time to actually log a lap. Takes about 40 to 50. By yourself, it takes 53 seconds. A little more than that to get around this track. As you see, the current pole time, Zachary Lima, is a 53.3. Once these guys get in the draft, those speeds pick up. That can drop to under 50 seconds. Qualifying just about over 3, 2, 1. There it is, white flag in the air. We are getting ready to grid up and go racing for 31 laps here at the fastest track in NASCAR, Talladega Superspeedway. Stay tuned. We'll get to your starting grid here in just a moment. Set a couple things up. Let everybody take their spot on the track. And here we go, drivers. Now sitting there just before the start finish line, getting ready to get the engines fired. Let's talk about your race info. We are at the infamous Talladega Superspeedway here in the NASCAR Xfinity Series. It is the Dash for the Cash Series presented by Jimmy Crow Money Racing. You see it there in your race format. Going to be a 31 lap race. 45% fuel though, however, so going to add in at least one, potentially two pit stops, unlimited tires, one fast repair. It is going to be fixed setups. And this could play a factor as well. 2 green-white checkers if we are to need them. A lot of these money races we see unlimited or a lot more. Not the case, though, so these guys going to have to keep it clean late in the going because you do not want to finish under caution at a track like this. Let's get right into your starting grid. Starting first, he snagged the pole. Is going to be Zachary Lima in the 12 Red Bull Racing Machine. To his outside, starting in second, is going to be Cody Niegels. Third, Steve Korosek. Fourth, Richard Sanchez. Fifth, Garrett Maines rounding out row 3. Another Pro Series driver. It's going to be Malik Ray. 7th, Jason Maines. 8th, Matthew Baker. 9th is going to be McCall Motorsports driver Sean Hill. To his outside, his teammate John Ward. 11th, Ron Morris Jr. We saw him hosting an RMR money racing race last night. 12th place is going to go to Justin Parham. 13th, Ambrose Kniebel. 14th is going to be Danny Barnes. 15th, Michael Eden. Good to see Michael out here. Wishing him the best. Driver out of Pennsylvania. And rounding out the field, 16th, Christopher McCall. And last car on that inside is going to be Ken McCall Jr. in 17th. That's a pretty good field tonight, too. Nothing to be ashamed about by any reason. 17 cars. You got to remember, anytime we get into the middle of these week races, sometimes the crowds aren't as big as what we see, especially towards the end of the week and on the weekends. But Jimmy Crow, actually talked to Jimmy earlier. Jimmy said this is a small field. He's used to getting bigger ones. I know what he means by that. Like I said, 17 cars, and these guys, all very talented, very hungry drivers. You better believe they're going to be going at it for the money, especially when it gets down to crunch time. Let's give another shout out, though, to your pole sitter, Zachary Lima. Zachary looking very, very fast in qualifying. Ran at 53.33. Qualifying could be a big deal, especially you don't want to get caught up in a wreck on accident late in the race here, or early in the race even. The best way to avoid that is to get the best seat in the house, and that would be up front. Let's look further back. Let's give Michael Eden a shout out. Good to see him out here, driver of the 18. Flame looking paint scheme behind him. Ken McCall Jr., who we saw just barely lose the win by under 100th of a second last night to Michael Triscaro, who we don't see out here tonight. Ambrose Kniebel in the 04. How about Ron Morris Jr., John Ward, Matthew Baker. Right in front of him, Jason Maines. We saw these two in the podium qualifying at least. Then we got Garrett Maines. He is also up here, another podium 500, and you see it there, Coca-Cola Series driver. A couple guys on the apron, and I'll tell you why. Because that's just how close fuel is going to be tonight. You want to save every last drop you can. Remember, that fuel window is going to be right around 15 to 17 laps. The 27, Steve Korosek, he is trying to make sure he's good to go so he can get racy when he wants to. Pace car pulls off. Field going to crawl into the Geico restart zone. Zachary Lima ready to go. Green flag is out. We're racing at Talladega. Ooh, Cody Neagles didn't get the best restart. 12 jumps out in front, but didn't take long for the 5'10 of Richard Sanchez to get right on his back bumper. Malik Ray dicing around for position. You see him there in the 21 Sim Seats racing machine. See if he decides to go 3 wide early. If this is anything like the trucks, these guys not going to want to stay double file for more than a lap. But I think with that first pit stop, we might see everybody think about staying in line here early, not jumping out, making sure they're good on fuel before we see anything too aggressive. We are missing the Groover brothers tonight. They did not make it out. Those two, a couple of the guys that like to force the issue. We'll see if that has any impact on this race. We saw Garrett Maines jump up top. That's going to put him right in front of his two teammates, Jason Maines and Matthew Baker. And forget 2 wide, throw it out the window. We're going 3 wide into the tribal here, led by Malik Ray, Garrett Maines, Jason Maines, and Matthew Baker. The 5'10 gets hung in the middle. But here comes Sean Hill, going to try to give him a push back up to the front. And we will see if Malik Ray decides to maybe jump down to the middle. Garrett Maines maybe going to follow him. Got to think Malik maybe working with those other guys. Doesn't have any teammates that I know of. We saw how well he was working with Michael Guest, I believe it was, last week. Michael Guest not in this race, so Malik going to have to find some other guys to work with. In that bottom lane, Zachary Lima lost the lead pretty quick to Cody Neagles, but he's trying to keep him out in front. Can't do it. Now we see the 31 and the 21 drop down to the middle line. Not going to be able to get clear of the bottom up top. That's going to hang out Jason Maines and Matthew Baker. I think they'll be just fine, though, with 2 cars. We know how hard they can push. We put up a poll at the beginning of the race. Will we have a new winner? 75% of you said no. Little surprise, because got to remember, we've only seen 3 races in this series so far, at least that I've broadcasted. We'll see if we can see a repeat winner further back. Some of these guys playing it safe early. Michael Eden currently rounding out the back of the pack. Ken McCall Jr., Christopher McCall, those are 2 teammates. They're just sitting back here riding around right now. We heard Ken say when you come out here, it's real stuff. If you don't have what it takes, you're going to have to go home. Watch it from the sidelines. And they're just sitting back observing right now. They don't want to get too aggressive. They know we got a pit stop coming up. They see the 3 wide. They said, hey, I don't want to get involved. Sit back here, save myself some fuel. And if nothing else, at least be able to take a little bit less of the rest of the field once we are to pit. Remember, you do not want to mess up on that pit stop. We saw it in the truck race. These guys don't somehow get a caution late in this thing. You're going to want to make sure you are in that front pack with enough fuel to make it to the end. Sean Hill, driver, the 13, third car on the bottom. That middle still holding pretty strong. This top lane not making as much progress as they would like to. And that is simply because Matthew Baker going to have to put a lot of extra work onto that 15's bumper to get him to make any progress. But remember, he can only do it for so long before that car is going to get a little hot. Baker knows how to manage temps, but still, they're going to need a little bit more help. John Cerullo in the chat says, hi, Austin. Hey, man, how's it going? Good to see you in here. Take a ride on board here with the driver of the 5 car, Matthew Baker, as we watch him try to get his teammate in the 15. Watch the hands work. You heard it there in the turn. Burps the throttle just a little bit. Doesn't want to push him in the corner. Not right now. We've seen some of these veterans, such as Matthew Baker, late in the race. If they need to, they'll give little taps to their teammates throughout the turns. Down the front, though, or down the back, he'll try to link on. Unfortunately, without that 3rd car, it makes it a lot harder to do. Go back. TV cam here where you can see these guys still 3x3. Didn't take them long to do it. Didn't even quite make it through 1 lap of 2 wide action before we went 3x3. About 3 rows deep right now. That outside only made up of 2 cars. Later in the run, we are going to see a lot more takers on. Remember, a lot of people being careful right now. Richard Sanchez got put in the middle. He's falling back, but still sticking up here in this 3 wide battle. Sean Hill, we see on the bottom. Ron Morris Jr., the first car outside of it. John Ward next to him is going to be Danny Barnes in the 7. 04 Ambrose Knievel. He's looking to have a strong run tonight. Sitting here behind the 92. We do have everybody still up here in this main pack and on the lead lap right now. Ken McCall Jr., though, currently the last car in it. Next to him is Michael Eden. How about we take a ride on board real quick with the driver of the 18? From what I've heard, don't want to quote anything for anybody unless we're sure, but from what I heard the other day when I was in a Discord with Michael, he races through hand controls. Him and Eddie Hawks, who we don't see tonight, those are two drivers that what I've heard, they both race hand controls, and in real life we've seen that from the driver called Robert Wickens. And that is a hard thing to do, ladies and gentlemen. Driving with your hands over your feet, just a whole different ball game. They're out here running competitive, but up front, you know who looks the most competitive right now is that 6 car of Cody Neagles, still holding the strong on the bottom. Up top, Malik Ray. We see Matthew Baker, Jason Maines decided to drop out of line. They said, hey, we're not making enough progress on this 3 wide. How about we get back 2 wide, see if maybe we can get a couple of these guys clear up on this top lane. Maybe take the lead. I think Matthew Baker maybe also said, Jason, I'm getting a little hot. Let's drop down the line, cool it off a little bit further back. I think some of these guys are saving a little bit of fuel. I think I like this decision too. 24 to go. We will see our first pit stop, most likely somewhere with 16 or 15 to go. Let's take a look at some of the speeds these guys are running up front though. 190. How about Malik Ray on this outside getting a big push? Coca-Cola Series driver Garrett Maines, and he is going to clear the bottom, drops right down to it. The 21, about 195 entering in turn 3, not quite as fast as the next gens. These Xfinity cars can scoot. Interesting to see here if Cody thinks about jumping high. He's not going to be able to do it this time. Zachary Lima, your pole sitter, has now shuffled back to the 3rd car on the inside behind him. Steve Korosek. Take away your dashboard now. 23 laps to go here at Talladega, and before everything gets spread out with pit stops, let's do a little dash for the crash, dash for the cash, crank it up. Here we go. That is going to do it for tonight's segment of Crank It Up. I hope everybody did enjoy that up front. Still the 21 of Malik Ray to his outside, though, now. Cody Neagles has jumped up in front of that 31 of Garrett Maines. Garrett going to push him. Thought maybe he'd think about taking him 3 wide. Doesn't, though. He's going to give this 6 a big push down the backstretch. See if he can get him clear before turn 3. Not going to be able to do it, though. Zachary Lima keeps the 21 out in front. Further back, looks like Christopher McCall is thinking about maybe getting up in this battle a little bit. To his inside, he's got a couple teammates, Ron Morris Jr. and John Ward. We know the 94 likes to get aggressive. Ambrose Knievel. There goes Ken McCall Jr. is going to jump out of line in front of Michael Eden. Now we see the 03 slide right back down the line in front of the 04. Christopher McCall has caught on to back that outside. That is going to give him 4 cars, and I think if anybody does decide to go 3 wide in this outside, the 94 would go with them. But he's got 3 teammates, not his teammates, but another team in front of him, and I don't think they're going anywhere right now. Jason feeling very comfortable behind his son and teammate Garrett Maines. Up top, though, now we're going to see a little bit of a move from Zachary Lima and Steve Korosek. We'll see if maybe they're thinking about trying to get a third lane going up front, though. Jason Maines, Garrett Maines clear that low line. That shoves the 6 back to third. Matthew Baker now leading up top with Christopher McCall pushing. 19 laps to go at Talladega. Action not really calmed down too much. We haven't seen some of the craziness we've seen in previous weeks yet. We also haven't seen these guys get in line and just ride yet. That makes me think the fuel number must be pretty set. And also the fact that we have not seen anybody pit just yet, I think further implies that we are only going to see one pit stop from these drivers. And with there only being that one pit stop, you got to make sure you do everything right. You don't want to miss a downshift. You don't want to miss your braking zone. And you certainly don't want to miss your box. Even a tenth of a second in races this competitive can cost you all your track position. And if you lose the draft coming out of pit road, you might as well forget about it. Your race is done. You see these cars bounce around a little bit through the trial. Well, that is sometimes the most unstable part of the track, especially in these Xfinity cars. If we were in the Cup Series, I got to say it'd probably be out of the turn. Maybe out of the trial a little bit too when the car gets really light. But we'll watch it next time we go through the trial. Well, now we see Matthew Baker and Garrett Maines also jump to the bottom. Steve Korosek, he's going to bail out of it. He's going to let Zachary Lima in. Those two may be working together. Both in the Dale Cup. So we'll see if they're maybe teammates tonight. And you see the whole line single file now. This implies pit stops very shortly. We are just about in that window. Nobody dives down this time. But let's watch right on board here. Watch through the trial here, these little bumps. You'll see his wheel move right there and right there. You see his hands move around just a little bit. Xfinity cars have a little bit softer suspension than the Cup Series, so those bumps, you feel them, but thankfully they don't really get your car too out of whack. When you're in the truck, so you feel it almost jerks the wheel. You got to really hold it. And this whole field looks like a really long snake right now, but not a lot of movement. Everybody's staying tucked in line, staying tight. It'd be interesting to see here if Baker and both Maines try to play a little bit of pit games. We saw that a while back when they were leading, because I'm telling you right now, I think the whole field going to try to follow these guys in. If they want to prevent that from happening, they might have to think about trying to fake like they're going down pit road, which we've seen them do before. Works pretty effectively, because you got to remember, if you're some of those guys further back, when you commit to a certain point, you can't necessarily bail out because you got guys in front of you. At a certain point, you'll just have to brake, and if they get you, they get you. 15 laps to go. Should be good on fuel, maybe even a lap extra. So we'll see if anybody comes in either this lap or next lap. Field zooming down the backstretch, though. So let's take a look from the
Damn.
Been a good night of racing, though, so far. Everybody kept it clean. We have not even had a driver go off track yet, or even an incident by themselves. That just tells you the skill level of this field. A lot of times in these races, we see at least one person make a mistake in their own doing. Here we go. Going to see our first round of pit stops.
I fucked up and got on the brakes too hard and slid and couldn't make the fucking turn.
Trying to get in clean. Oh, we got one in the grass. Couldn't tell who this was. Oh, the 76 and the 19. Justin Parham and Ron Morris Jr. both get off track.
Hey, at least it wasn't just you.
Not what they wanted to see.
It just come across it.
The rest of this group gets in pretty clean.
That's how far behind the stream is.
Couldn't tell who was by. John Ward, Sean Hill, though, going to be the closest box to the exit. So we'll see who wins the race out of pit road. Here we go. Looks like it is going to go to Sean Hill second. It's going to be Christopher McCall third. Ken McCall Jr. Ambrose Knievel, he gets out of his pit stall nicely. But further back, John Ward and a bunch of other
that's going to put me a
lap
lap down.
John maybe forgot to uncheck tires is my best guess. Let's go up front, though. I think we might see some more pit stops. Here we go. Matthew Baker and the rest of the field all come down. Oh, big lock up and slide. I believe that's Steve Korosek. Oh, slight contact. Still trying to keep it together.
They almost wrecked that other group coming in the pits.
31. Shouldn't cost anybody too much. They don't look like they have any damage.
A couple of them got into each other, though.
You see the 76, the 19, and the 92 just now leaving their box. Their race is going to be done without a caution. Be interesting to see if the 27 also got a penalty, but let's see who wins this race out of pit road and where the rest of the pack falls. Just like that, here they all go. That was a very, very quick stop. And there you go. You see the rest of the pack. I don't know if they're going to be able to catch him here. This is going to get close. Let's go back here, pull up the track map to see if they're going to have enough. I'll tell you what, I don't know if they necessarily are. They got into pit road a little bit sloppier than this main pack. Oh, it's going to be really close. You see them hustling off turn 2. I think maybe they'll be able to keep the draft. If they can just stay in that draft, that's all they'll need. They'll be good to go. Everybody has now pit. We got a couple things to go over first. Let's take a look at some of these guys further back. Looks like Justin Parham has gone a lap down currently. One of the drivers that went off track. And let's actually go see what happened with it. So we saw a couple guys not
Oh wow, he's doing a replay on you, gamer. You in the 76
let's look at it from
to
TV
see what happened.
That's going to give us the biggest picture of it. You see everybody trying to get as much position. Sean Hill locks it up. Ron Morris Jr. locks it up. Wow, a lot of guys locking it up. And that is the 19 way up top. Not going to make it at all. Ron Morris Jr. also has it locked up. And once you get even just 2 tires into that grass, feels like you just hit a slab of ice. And you see it right here. Sliding nowhere to go. Looks like John Ward got in clean. Not sure if he maybe just got in too hot and got a penalty. Further back, the 7.
I need them to wreck and not collect me in it.
Yeah.
And you see it right here, the 76 going to slide back onto the pit lane. The 19 avoids making contact. That is what cost both of those drivers their race for now, bearing no caution. Back up front, didn't take these guys long to get 2x2. Matthew Baker trying to get the lead away from Malik Ray.
Tell you what, it
Zachary
seems like
Lima
when
behind him. And it looks
big
like
money's on the line, they
that
drive
first
right,
pack,
don't
the ones
they?
that came in cleanly, at least Ken McCall Jr., Christopher McCall, and Sean Hill all able to stay with this front pack. So is Richard Sanchez, who is barely hanging on, but he isn't enough to keep it. Now we're going to see 3 wide up top. Big block from Cody
they're 3
Needles.
wide right now.
Got to be careful. They're coming up on a lap car here, 3x3. We've seen 4 wide in the truck series. Be interesting to see here if John Ward maybe tries to help his teammates. Christopher McCall didn't like what he was seeing. Bails right out of it. And they go 4 wide for just a second. Everybody holds it together nicely. Back to 2 wide. Cody Neagles, no help. Going to have to drop back in line. Ken McCall Jr. in the middle with his teammate. We'll see if they think about making a move to the outside. Here comes Christopher McCall further back. But up front, Malik Ray still leading the way. He's got Matthew Baker on his outside second row. Garrett Maines and Zachary Lima. Out of turn 2. Still Malik Ray, and these two maybe stalling each other out just a little bit right now. That third line, though, you can tell it's ready to make some progress. Just a matter of time. Remember, not sure, actually, I don't think it was this race. We did see a couple of weeks ago in a different series, a lot of people wanted to go to that third lane to go to the front, but not a lot of people wanted to actually make progress by pushing the third lane. These guys are going to have to stack up and work with each other, teammates or not, if they want to all get to the general front of this pack. And if you are sitting in the back of this pack, I think it's got to be go time now. You can't wait much longer. Mark Vondell's in the chat. Says, let's go McCall Motorsports. That's right. Mark Vondell, McCall Motorsports driver. Out here rooting his team on with 10 laps to go. Tell you what, Cody is really committed to this outside. It might pay dividends to him if he can stay there until we get close to the end of this thing. You see Richard Sanchez, who has finally really caught on to the back of this pack. Gonna go to the outside. Christopher McCall now. He jumps up top. Sean Hill, another one of those aggressive drivers, sit behind Jason Maines.
Yep.
Those two don't get along too well, but they're both very, very talented drivers, and they're going to put their differences aside. Oh, as we see Sean Hill jump up top last second. Just going to say the 13 going to try to work the 15. If he jumps out with the 15, content where he is. 13 jumps out of line. He's going to get a big push here from the 6. Matthew Baker still controlling this top line. Down low, still Malik Ray, but they're starting to fade a little bit. This top line, on the other hand, head of steam like a bull through a china shop. Sean Hill now draws dead even side by side by side. 4 rows deep. Will we see anybody think about making a 4th lane later in this? We've seen it the last 2 weeks. Sean Hill going to drop right down in front of that 5. How about the pushing from Cody Neagles? And now he's going to get some much-needed cooler air to the grill of that 6 machine. Matthew Baker, though, jumps to the bottom. Sean Hill hoping he can get some help here from the 12 before that 5 can get clear. A lot of bumping into the trouble. These guys starting to get a lot more wiggling, a lot closer to each other's doors. Got to be careful. Sure enough, Matthew Baker jumps back up to the middle, contact to the wall further back. Looks like maybe the 03 just kissed the wall. Outside starts to fade, but I'll tell you what, when you see that outside, whatever lane falls back the farthest, seems like they'll get the biggest run next. Just the way the momentum goes. And before things get too out of hand, let's talk about some of these drivers. John, oh, actually contact up front. Everybody saves it. Oh my goodness. That got real close. Let's back it up and watch what just happened real quick. Wow, these guys really starting to get aggressive. Let's see, I didn't quite catch what initially happened here. 13, Sean Hill pushing Matthew Baker. Oh, tried to follow him, wasn't clear. Malik Ray with the quick reaction time, though. Able to keep from getting those two hooked together and spun out. Let's go back live. Where these guys are still 3x3, but now your leader is Sean Hill. He's got Malik Ray pushing really hard here, just out of the corner, down the backstretch, the middle now, Cody Neagles. Further back on the outside is Christopher McCall. Before these guys get too crazy is what I was saying. Let's try to take a quick look. John Ward currently sitting a lap down in the 92. Up with this main pack that might be able to help his teammates. Justin Parham, he is not in the mix. He is also a lap down. So is Ron Morris Jr., who is also in the lead pack. Michael Eden, Danny Barnes drafting together. Ambrose Kinney by himself. Everyone else is up here fighting for a chance at the money. It is top 5 or top 6 payout. I'm not 100% sure. I don't remember. It was on the starting soon. But it's going to be a pretty decent payout night. Jimmy Crow, one of the highest, if not the highest payback to the drivers, just out here.
Not looking like they're going to wreck.
Product, and he sure is putting it on.
You'll get the lucky dog, won't you?
Will he jump to that?
Well, I don't know. There's two cars right here with me. Depends on who's in the
got it for a minute if he wants it.
transfer spot.
Put Christopher McCall behind him. The 6 is going to jump right down in front of Sean Hill. A lot of the guys further back just know where to go.
Yeah, that's if those two wrecked, huh? But didn't touch you.
Still 3x3 though, and you see these guys all dead even right now. Get you the rear chase camera.
I mean, they're running 3
Matthew
wide
Baker
up here.
Starting to pull ahead. Oh, and here we go.
Shit.
Malik Gray, he's ready to go. First 4 wide of the night. These guys have got to be careful. Malik getting squeezed. Steve Korosek trying to.
I didn't get it.
Couple of them 4
got
wide.
hold a steady wheel into turn 1. Sean Hill still on the bottom. Where are they going to make it work? Oh, further back than not contact. Ken McCall Jr. is going to spin down the track. Big wreck to 21. Malik Ray is going to flip around. Jason Maines is in it.
The whole front wrecked, it looked like.
21 slides down low. The 19 can't get slowed down. More contact with Zachary Lima. First caution of the night comes out with 5 laps to go. Let's take a look at it. And this is going to happen in a couple different places. You saw Malik Ray take it 4 wide. It looked like it was working. Fortunately, eventually these guys just couldn't quite hold on to it. How about that camera shot? If you want a screenshot, there you go. But let's see where it's going to start. Watch the one further back here. This is where it's going to first start. Ken McCall Jr. up top. Steve Korosek, 3rd lane. Oh, looks like Sean Hill maybe up the track just a little bit. Back that up. It's so close that it's just hard to see even the slightest movement. Get a better camera angle here. Watch the 13 here. He's really going to have to hug the yellow here, which he is into the turn. You see he's coming off this yellow just a little bit. Comes off of it a little bit more. Is going to make some slight contact with the 31, which sends him up into the 27. That sends the 27 up into the 03. And then that turns the 03 around back down into the 27. But up front is where they're going to wreck here again. Further back they're wrecking. But then you saw it right here. The 12 of Zachary Lima. Gonna, ooh, and it looks like maybe a little hesitance here from Christopher McCall actually. Looks like he's kind of half and half. The 5'10" trying to save it. It's trying to jump down. The 12, Zachary Lima.
Gonna be a green and white checker when we go, so the only hope is really going to be
turns him right around into
if I can stay in front of this 92 and they have a caution.
Sideways, nothing he can do at this point. Hits the wall, gets propelled up. Big air time for the 21. See that thing flip around a couple times. Looks like he does land back on his wheels, but the 12 into the wall hard.
It's
John
only
Ward was a lap down.
4 cars
dog,
in the
not
lead
it now.
made
Jason
it through
Maines
that.
backs it into the outside wall. But did Ron Morris Jr. maybe squeak by this? Let's take one more view of it here to see if Ron Morris squeaks by this. 76, he's up top here. Now he's going to dive low. Wow. Nice wreck avoidance there by Ron Morris. I actually want to ride on board with him. And he should get the lucky dog, I think, because of this. Look at this. Stays up top. Nice move here. Goes under a flipping 21 to the outside of Richard Sanchez. Splits the gap. Nicely done. And that is the replay of what brought out your first caution of the night. Let's go back live and up front. Check out your top 5 now. It's going to be Matthew Baker first. He's looking pretty right now. Second, Cody Niegels. Third, Sean Hill. Fourth, Garrett Maines. And rounding out the top 5. Wow, actually first, look at the damage to the back of the 31. He's got some to the front too. A little surprised to see him stay out. He does have a fast repair in the pits if he chooses to use it. And maybe he thinks these guys aren't done wrecking just yet. He's got all his engine powers. He might be okay, but you see here, I think he's having his teammate check out his damage. That thing looks pretty banged up. He's got some on the left, a decent amount on the front, and a ton on the back. Rounding out your top 5, though, in 5th right now is going to be Ken McCall Jr., it looks like. See if that changes up at all right now with Cody Niegels sitting 3rd. Garrett Maines maybe wanting to think twice about if he's going to pit here. I think he might be okay if he's pushing. But if he gets that car out in the lead, I don't know if it's going to have a lot of speed. We'll have to see. Mark Vondell in the chat says, hi, Austin. Great job, buddy. Appreciate it, Mark. Thank you, guys. We are going to have actually, it is going to be into overtime, so it will be an overtime finish. Remember, 2 green-white checkered, so if we can't get it done this time, we'll try one more time at it. If we can't get it done that time, we will finish this thing under yellow. Matthew Baker is going to have Cody Niegels on his outside. We'll see what lane he decides to choose, but I think he'll choose the outside. That way he gets his teammate Garrett Maines behind him. Sean Hill going to be the pusher on the inside. 3rd row, Ken
But that
McCall
number
Jr.
5
and
is praying
Steve
everybody keeps
Morrisek.
wrecking behind them.
If you guys are just tuning in, get ready. It's going to get really crazy here. If you are liking what you're seeing tonight,
I bet that number 5 prays that everybody wrecks behind him.
Let us know you're enjoying it. And if you're new,
just, you know, that way it finishes under.
Go ahead and follow us if you don't mind. Got a doubleheader tonight on Ghost Racing Network right after
if it
this.
finishes under, or if they wreck right here, it's going to go under one more green-white checker.
FEG PC for a $1,175 payout. That starts. Practice opens at 9 p.m. Eastern. Race is going to start at 9:30. 9:35 actually is green flag to be exact. Look at the payouts. Top 8. First place $325. Everybody through 8th going home at least $100. I think we might see some of the guys that we're seeing in this race back over in that one, especially if they can win themselves some money. So don't miss out on that one, whether you're racing or tuning in. Go get yourself involved. Before we can get that, we got a really good race here, though, that we got to wrap up. The Dash for the Cash, presented by Jimmy Crow Money Racing. Matthew Baker going to try to finish it off. We know how good he is up front, especially at the end of these races. And let's look further back, where it looks like John Ward, Justin Parham still sitting a lap down. If we get another caution, though, you're going to be fighting for the lucky dog. Ron Morris Jr. did get the lucky dog after doing a nice job missing that last wreck, so he's going to have a chance to go help his teammates.
But it is what it is.
Money himself. Ambrose,
It might wouldn't have been too bad if I wouldn't have fucked up there, just trying to get in the pit.
Went in, took his fast repair. Here he is. Looks like Ambrose blinking a little bit. Zachary Lima, Christopher McCall, Richard Sanchez, all drivers involved in that last wreck. That's the beauty of the fast repair. You can keep it out here. But Garrett Maines, I think he thinks maybe we got another wreck we are going to have tonight, because he is not using that fast repair. He's going to try to stay out and push his teammate. I don't think he'll make a move. Not with the damage he has, unless he has to, of course. Pace car getting ready to pull off the flag starters, just as excited as I am. Will we see a 3rd photo finish in a row? We have seen Garrett Maines in the front. Thought he won the last one, actually, but just barely got inched out. I believe it was Steve Korosek. I could be wrong. Not sure, but either way, Garrett Maines barely lost the last one into the Geico restart zone. Overtime number 1. Green flag is out. And you see the coordination from teammates on the outside right away. Garrett Maines gives a big push to his teammate. They're going to be able to drop low if they so choose. Here comes the 13. Cody Neagles is going to get a push from Sean Hill into turn 1. That damage really hurting Garrett Maines. Matthew Baker realizes that. Jumps to the bottom. Will the 6 think about going up top? He's got a drafting partner with him if he chooses. He jumps up top. Matthew Baker not going to be able to block. Third lane now, Steve Korsak.
They're going to make it to the white flag.
And if we make it to the white flag, remember, no more cautions. Guys jockeying for position down the backstretch. That top lane with 3 cars, though, has the speed right now. If Steve Korsak can get clear, will he drop? Middle lane now holding strong. Cody Neagles, Sean Hill. The bottom, Matthew Baker and Ken McCall Jr. Starter has the white flag in the air. Can Cody Neagles hold on to it? He's going to have to fend off Matthew Baker on the bottom and Steve Korsak on the top. One more lap around Talladega. Into turn 1, still 3x3. You can see just how aggressive the push is getting. Sean Hill's got to be really careful here. Contact. Not sure if they're going to be able to save this one further back. Garrett Maines is around, holds on to it. Everybody moves around, but nobody wrecks. And this is going to make these 2 lanes drop back down from 3 wide to 2 wide. Everybody going to line back up, try to go for it one more time. Into turn 3, Cody Neagles going to need a little bit more of a push, but now Ken McCall Jr. jumps up to the top. Matthew Baker tries to block, can't do it. Out of turn 4, here comes Ken McCall Jr. Jason Maines on his teammate's bumper. Outside, can they hold the momentum? Can the bottom do anything about it? And then a tri-over for the final time. The top now with the momentum. Ken McCall Jr. gets clear. Cody Neagles with the push. Ken McCall Jr. wins at Talladega.
Wow.
What a push from
Well, that sucks.
That was a heck of a finish, though, for them cars.
Saying thank you right now to Cody Neagles. Big run on the
I will say, that was some of the cleanest racing I've seen in a while.
Ken McCall Jr. wins the Dash for the Cash race on a Wednesday night here.
I guess when there's a lot of money online, huh? Oh, he went to go do his burnout and somebody just T-boned him.